How old was I? Wow, God, that's going back now. When I very first started mountain biking, I was probably about 12, 13 years old, like riding off-road. But I started riding like bikes probably like with my dad, just going up the lanes from here, like when I was about, God, I don't know, maybe seven or eight. When I was young, I always used to make my mum bring my bike to school for me, like after school, so I could play with some of my mates. And, like we'd try and do like little jumps and stuff on these just like regular little bikes that weren't like BMXs or jump bikes or anything like that. But yeah, that was another memory that stuck with me, and that, yeah, it was probably, you know, that was in primary school then, so yeah, probably 6 or 7. What do I do? Probably try and do too much, really. So I train to race, I study for my university course, and in between all that I sort of have like split lives like everywhere really. I mean, I've just got back from Spain now, working out there as a mountain bike guide, whilst like technically in university. Trying to balance that is pretty tough, but I've done okay at it, and knuckle back down to the studying now this next couple of weeks and finish off my degree. We've never not owned a bike, I don't think. From when I was young, he would just, I'd always see him like go out on a bike, and I was too young to realise what he was actually doing, but he used to like train to, you know, to like compete in like just road time trials and that. But then as I got older, it all made sense, and that's what he used to do. And then as I got a bit older, I was able to go out a bit with him and just ride on the road, and yeah, so that's probably what got me into actually riding a bike, I guess. You can always tell if my old man's about, because you put like this crappy ass music on and just... What is that? Exactly. What is it, this? Because then he can like chat about how he used to like ride bikes. And then he can like say how much better he used to be than me, but we all know that's a lie.
I used to have a decent bike till I let James
get
hold of it, because he doesn't look after anything. So he's a typical downhill rider. He didn't take much pushing into biking really, because we've always been a biking family. So from a very early age, he was exposed to bikes. There is some crossover, but it's mainly I think from motocross, because what downhillers can learn from road bikers I think is quite limited, apart from the mech and the mech setup, which, you know, James is sick of me saying Shimano's everything and SRAM is shit.
Starting to realise that now.
Yeah. But it's, you know, that's an engineering thing.
You're not supposed to say that. That's
no,
like,
I know, I'm swearing.
That's like, yeah, and that's like brand management, isn't it? Like, you know, there are other brands available, you know. Like,
you don't work for the BBC, do you? This is 37 years old.
Yeah.
So.
It's going a bit slower nowadays. It used to go a bit quicker back in the day, didn't it?
Yeah. Didn't have as much weight on it. I can tell you one when we were at the Forest of Dean when James was really, really small. Because he was a typical young boy in a tearaway, he didn't wait for us as a group. So me, his mum, and his sister, we're pootling along at the sister's pace. Meantime, he just tears off into the forest. We then spent about the next 15-20 minutes shouting, bawling, screaming. Yeah. Even got a whistle out, was blowing a whistle.
Totally lost.
And then about 25 minutes later, we find him coming back up a track that he'd been riding up and down, as if to say, what's the problem? You know, I'm just having a good time. So.
I forgot, that's a good one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I was literally like completely lost. I didn't know where I was. You got a good memory, eh?
Yeah. I might be old, but I'm not senile.
Look at this thing. Hey, you can tell how often he gets out on this. Look at this. Look at this.
Completely seized.
Look, it's for sale.
Flat, yeah.
It looks for sale. No. It hangs up there.
Yeah. Look at the dust on it. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at
nice though.
See that? That's James's handiwork, that is, yeah. That's what happens when you let him borrow something.
Oh, no, actually, wasn't
it's
that
all
the time?
Abuse, like.
Wasn't that the time I took
all
you?
Abuse.
I took you down the cross country run in Lunkless, and you fell off like 20 times.
Oh yeah.
That's probably what it was actually.
Be careful, or I'll take that to your neck.
Oh yeah. probably would as well. This is right on the doorstep. We're in Malfrey, which is in North Wales. This was a track that my dad took me to when I was about 13, 14 years old, and I'm 23 now. And yeah, basically I've been riding this track for, you know, since then. It's cool to still ride it now where I'm, you know, I've moved on a bit and the track's changed a bit, and it's still a fast track and cool for filming, and yeah, this is probably one of my favourite tracks. I don't think it frustrates me that people don't know about how much work goes into it, because you can get by to a certain degree without doing the work, but when you get higher up you realise how much the work helps, and that's what I've realised now. It kind of motivates me as well, because, you know, people say like, oh, you ride downhill, you just get on the top of, you get on your bike, don't you, and just pedal down the hill. Well, if you see, like, you know, GoPro videos that I do and stuff, you know, you realise how intense it is and how fast, you know, it's coming, and you need all aspects of training. You need good reactions, strength, you know, cardiovascular to, you know, obviously keep your body working for 3 minutes flat out. A lot of aspects goes into the training, long and short. Yeah, so I actually went away from the sport for a bit. A combination of, would you say, burnout? I burnt out a bit from the sport.
Frustration. Yeah,
frustration. Into expert category, you know, which is equivalent of semi-professional. I was racing week in, week out, and I had some good results, I had some okay results, some bad results, and it all culminated in me being like burnt out from the sport, burnt out from racing. So I took time away. Always rode still, but I went there for the best part of 5-6 months, and I went out there to coach soccer and the gymnastics as well. So it was a really cool experience. I ended up living out in Sydney for four or so months, so I got to see a bit of the world apart from bikes, which, you know, opened my eyes to, you know, what's outside the mountain bike industry and stuff. So yeah, I sort of signed myself up for it, didn't I, and sort of went off to Australia for a bit, and yeah, I believe it was a really good experience for me. We're in CrossFit Aberystwyth today. This is a place that I use regular for my strength training. So I come here most days and use the gym. Today, as you can see, it's quite free, so that's always good. Got everything here: the assault bikes, we've got the barbells, we've got all the weights here, rowing machine. So it's ideal for me to come in and do some strength stuff really, which is vital for the bike. And I also do the classes from time to time as well, which they're really good for strength fatigue. Yeah, I come here and do the odd class, and then I do my own workout, which is supplied to me through Alex Bond, my trainer.
Is it okay, or is it? No, it's fine, it's good. It's good form. That's what happens when you get heavier. Just trade your shoulders a bit on the bottom, set your back a little better. Up and back.
Right at the very bottom when I'm down here.
At the very bottom, if you're going to touch and go, keep your back straight. Keep your shoulders back, head up. That's pretty good. There's nothing much to say. Cool.
I'm a pretty dedicated person as well, so I feel like if I skip a day, I'm the type of person that I feel lazy. I like it if I get a really good workout that really invigorates me for the start of the day. I don't know, I come here when I don't know, if I've literally got not much on and I just want to get out of the house. Sometimes I'm a bit like cabin fever kind of person if I spend too much time inside. I like being outdoors, so I guess this is why I come here, and I just sort of, you know, hang out and you know, I just put some music on and like listen to some of my favourite music, and I just climb up to the top here and then just chill and have a look at the views. And there's, as you can see, there's plenty of views, like, so really this is kind of my escape, I guess. This was actually like a spot that I came after like travelling, like this area, because this was like when I sort of kind of decided to like come to before I started really like, right, okay, I'm going to start racing again. Like, so I had my time like travelling and sort of cliche like, oh, finding out who I am and all this, like, but yeah, and then I came back here and I remember being like just walking up to the top here, and I like had all these ideas in my head of like how I wanted things to pan out and how I was going to get back into being, you know, almost like a professional sort of athlete, and training as hard as I could to try and achieve the goals that are now quite like prominent in my mind, I guess. You know, because like for about a year and a half or so, racing was nowhere in my life when I stopped for a bit. So then it gave me this time to sort of, okay, kind of think. And I came up here and I was like, right, I want to do this, this and this, and I want to get to this position. And then I planned everything out sort of in my head, sort of whilst looking at the views and stuff. And then that's kind of like how I am. I get an idea and then I go with it. And then this was probably, that's why I like coming here, because it gives me real peace of mind, and it's clear, you know, like I can just look out and just nothing else really matters, and I can sort of just plan what I want to do. So yeah, for sure. The biggest thing for me is like mindset is like completely different from when I used to race a couple of years ago. I feel way more like confident and like, without sounding cliche, like one with a bike, and just beyond everything else, I'm just having more fun with it. I think the time that I spent away really rejuvenated me and made me like hungry to come back and give this sport another real good go.
James Anderson for MDE bikes going fifth, 2 minutes 36 for him.
No.
So I just need 5 minutes. 28.8k for Joe Breedon's currently leading our fastest speed trap for intense racing.
Been on the podium, but it goes racing sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I saw you.
It's annoying when you're like second. You qualify
That's
second.
the problem, you qualify.
Anyway, we made it down in one piece, so. Going into the race, I felt really prepared for it. Long and short, I ended up qualifying my first run second. I ended up letting that get in my head a bit, and in the final had a pretty messy run, but I managed to salvage 6th place, which I wasn't happy with, but you know, 6th. The break from racing did me a lot of good, refreshed my mindset, but then doing the race at the weekend, I've learned a lot more about myself, because years gone by in tough conditions like that, I probably wouldn't have done as well. I think the biggest thing I've learned since coming back to the sport is the enjoyment factor. The time away taught me loads about myself, and maybe I took it a bit too seriously last time, you know, treating it a bit too much like a kind of a job really than what it is. And it's, you know, racing is fun. If I'm having fun and enjoying riding my bike, I'm going fast, so the results are going to take care of themselves. Keep enjoying it and keep going fast, and those are the key things for me.